The value of time. Welcome, dear viewers. In today's story, we explore the value of time through Ryan's journey from wasting time to learning its true worth. Stay with us as we uncover an inspiring lesson that can change your life. Let's begin. Ryan was a young man who never took time seriously. He would spend hours scrolling through his phone, watching TV, and delaying important tasks. His parents often advised him to use his time wisely, but he always laughed and said, "There's plenty of time. I'll do it later." One day, Ryan met an old man sitting in the park. The man had a long white beard and wise eyes. He was watching the birds and seemed lost in thought. Ryan sat beside him, and after a while, the old man spoke. "Young man, do you value time?" he asked. Ryan shrugged. "I have a lot of time. Why rush?" The old man smiled and handed Ryan an hourglass. "Turn it over and watch the sand fall," he said. Ryan watched as the tiny grains of sand slipped through the narrow passage. Slowly but surely, the upper half emptied. The old man then said, "This is your life. Every grain of sand is a moment you will never get back." Ryan felt a strange realization. "So, what should I do?" he asked. The old man replied, "Use every grain wisely. Once the sand runs out, you can't turn the hourglass back." From that day on, Ryan changed his ways. He managed his time, set goals, and worked hard. He realized that time was not unlimited, it was the most precious gift he had. The lesson stayed with him forever. Time, once lost, can never be regained. Before Ryan met the old man, he lived a carefree life. He was in his early 20s, full of energy but lacking direction. He would wake up late, skip important assignments, and always look for shortcuts. "There's always tomorrow," he would say. Ryan had dreams, but he never pursued them seriously. He wanted to be a writer, but instead of working on his stories, he would binge watch TV shows, waste hours on social media, and make excuses. His parents were worried, but no amount of advice seemed to work. One evening, after another wasted day, Ryan decided to take a walk in the park. That's when he met the old man. The park was nearly empty, except for this wise-looking man sitting on a wooden bench, staring at the sky. Something about his presence felt different. It was as if he had lived many lifetimes and carried stories of the past. Ryan sat beside him, curious but silent. After a few moments, the old man spoke, asking him about time. When he gave Ryan the hourglass, something clicked in his mind. Could time really be slipping away like that? Ryan went home that night and couldn't stop thinking about the hourglass. He lay in bed, staring at the ceiling, replaying the old man's words. "Every grain of sand is a moment you will never get back." For the first time in years, he questioned his habits. He thought about the unfinished stories, the unread books, the ignored opportunities. How much time have I wasted? The next morning, Ryan woke up early. He made a to-do list, something he had never done before. "I will start small," he told himself. His first goal was simple: write for just 30 minutes. At first, it was difficult. His mind kept wandering, and he felt the urge to check his phone. But then he remembered the hourglass. "Focus," he whispered to himself. He forced himself to write. By the end of the session, He had written more than he expected. Days turned into weeks, and Ryan kept making small improvements. He started exercising in the morning, limiting his screen time, and spending more time on productive activities. He still enjoyed relaxing, but he learned to balance it with meaningful work. His parents noticed the change. "You seem different," his mother said one day. "More focused." Ryan just smiled. He hadn't told anyone about the old man in the park, but he knew that moment had changed him. One day, Ryan decided to visit the park again. He wanted to thank the old man, but when he reached the wooden bench, it was empty. He waited for hours, but the old man never came. He asked around, but no one knew of an old man who sat there regularly. It was as if he had vanished into thin air. Was he even real? Or just a messenger sent to guide me? Ryan wondered. Though he never saw the old man again, the lesson stayed with him. Ryan went on to achieve his dream of becoming a writer. He published books, gave motivational talks, and helped others realize the importance of time. Years later, he gifted an hourglass to a young boy who reminded him of his past self. As he handed it over, he smiled and said, "Every grain of sand is a moment you will never get back. Use them wisely." And the cycle continued, one lesson, one life at a time. As Ryan continued on his journey, he began to share his experience with others. He started a blog about productivity and self-discipline. People from around the world connected with his story. He realized that many struggled with the same problem, wasting time on distractions instead of focusing on their dreams. Ryan started giving motivational talks at universities. He told students about the old man and the hourglass. "Your time is like money in a bank," he would say. "If you waste it, you will have nothing left. When you need it the most," he introduced a simple rule, the 1-hour rule. Every day, spend at least 1 hour on something that moves you closer to your goals. It could be writing, learning a new skill, or exercising. It doesn't matter what it is, as long as it adds value to your life. Many people started following his advice. Students improved their grades. Young entrepreneurs built successful businesses. And people struggling with procrastination found new energy. Of course, the journey wasn't always smooth. Ryan had setbacks. There were days when he felt lazy, when distractions pulled him back into old habits. But every time, he reminded himself, one grain of sand at a time. One of his biggest challenges came when he faced criticism. Some people mocked his ideas, calling them unrealistic. "You can't change people," they said. But Ryan didn't let negativity affect him. He focused on those who were willing to listen and grow. He also dealt with personal struggles. At one point, he lost a close friend in an accident. The grief was overwhelming, and he felt lost. But he remembered the old man's words, "Use every grain wisely." He used his pain to fuel his purpose, realizing that life is unpredictable and every moment is precious. Years later, Ryan became an inspiration for millions. His books became bestsellers. His speeches were watched by thousands, and his lessons on time management changed lives. He had gone from a careless young man to a mentor who helped people unlock their potential. One day, as he sat on a bench in the park, he saw a young boy scrolling endlessly on his phone. Smiling, Ryan took out an hourglass from his bag and walked toward him. "Hey there," he said. "Do you value time? Did you learn something from this story? Share your thoughts in the comments. And if you liked this video, don't forget to like and subscribe.